Do you feel stuck in your career and you feel like you just can't get promoted or get that new job that you want? This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Today, I'm going to talk to you about blast through your career bottleneck because there's so many people that are stuck in their career and feel like they can't move up in their company or get that higher paying job or a job or career that's really satisfying and fulfilling in doing what they want and getting paid well for it. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some dynamics about this circumstance because the more you understand something, the more knowledge you have, the more awareness you have, the more control you can have over it. Now, the biggest cause as to why you get stuck is because of your comfort zone. When you're comfortable, you don't want to change. And I'll just use weight loss as an example. Let's say you want to lose 15 pounds and you got a job that things are going well. You're getting paid. The bills are getting paid. The lights are on. Food's on the table. But you got a certain schedule you got to keep that maybe working out after work doesn't work for you. And you got to do it before work at 5 a.m. And that's uncomfortable. You may not want to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. And that causes you to say, to heck with it. I'll stay at the weight that I am. I'll stick with my hypertension. I'll stick with my metformin. And I'll stick with my high blood pressure because it's too difficult. It's too hard. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. You know, when you want things handed to you and you're not going to do anything that's challenging. And this is the problem. This is why you're stuck in your career in the position you're in. Because in any kind of, you want to move up in the company or change a career, you've got to make changes in your daily habits. You got to make changes in your sense of discipline. You've got to shift your mindset. And if you're in the mindset of everything's okay, I don't need to do anything, you know what, maybe I'll just stay right where I am because it's comfortable. And that's why you're in the boat you're in. Now, it doesn't make you a bad person. I'm just saying how much fire do you have? How much passion do you have for something new? I mean, in the professional world, things have changed to the agile management method away from the waterfall method. This is making people work for 1 to 5 years, let's say an average of 3 years. The project's over and you got to find a new job every 3 years. And this can be mind-boggling because it's a very competitive world. Or maybe you got in good with the company and you're moving up in that company from team leader to supervisor to department head to project manager or head of sales or head of distribution or head of production, whatever department you're in, you're well liked and you want to stick with that company because they treat you well, they got good benefits, but you're stuck where you're at. I'll give you an example. I have a patient who works for Lockheed, and this is his third job, or rather second job in his life. He's in his mid-20s. And he's basically a personal assistant for a high-level executive. And he wants the new position that's open, that's pays more, and is in the line of work that he does. So he applied for it, and when I asked him about it, he said he didn't get it. And I asked him, well, who got it? He said a person who has 6 years experience in that field, in that specific field, and has more experience than him. And it hit him that he needs more experience, and he's just going to have to be happy where he's at until he gains more experience. And he's an engineer. And these engineers like really technical things, but also you got to sell that technical stuff and you got to innovate and produce new product and also manage that production and manage the R&D and manage the sales of that stuff, manage the workflow of that stuff. And this is something that's beyond his knowledge skills. And this could be a reason why you don't apply for that higher position. It's called the Peter principle. You may get hired for a new position and you realize you're out of your league, or you may get offered and you have the option to accept it or turn it down, and you turn it down because you feel like an imposter. You feel incompetent. You feel like you're not good enough. You don't have the skills. You realize that you're out of your league and you're comfortable where you're at, so you just refuse to learn new skills. Maybe you've got to go back to school and get your MBA. Maybe you've got to take some specialized training in whatever field you're at. Maybe it's leadership training, maybe it's management training, maybe it's you get your black belt in Lean Six Sigma, whatever it is. There's a couple week courses that you just don't want to take because it's not comfortable. You may tell yourself you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, and you're okay with that. You just resign to the position you're in because it's comfortable. It's never comfortable to change. It's not comfortable to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym. It's not comfortable to change your routine. And that's the biggest reason why most people get stuck where they're at. They try a few changes and then it's uncomfortable. It's irritating. It's bothersome. You got to go out of your way. You got to drive farther. I won't take that higher paying job because it's an hour longer in my commute. Things of that nature will keep you from moving forward, from getting ahead, or even changing career. You may get offered, you're a sales guy, or maybe you're an engineer, and you have this natural ability to manage and lead people. And then you got a position to be the team supervisor. And this is what happens in first level management is you think, okay, I know it all. I got the job and I don't need to learn anything because what I currently know is good enough. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten hired here. And then you realize you don't know what the heck you're doing. You start micromanaging or you don't manage enough and workflow goes down. You don't even know the term workflow. You find yourself working extra hours to cover other people's shifts and work, and then you start complaining about it. You start complaining about your own crew rather than holding yourself accountable because it's too uncomfortable to hold yourself accountable. It can't be your fault. God forbid it's your fault. It's easier to blame other people. It's uncomfortable to take responsibility. So you go into this real sense of not just comfortable material-wise, like soft couches and getting the food you like, but comfortable in who you are, comfortable in your emotional self. When you're only chasing after things you like, things that are easy, things that are pleasing, things that are pleasurable, and you avoid all things that are challenging, all things that are hard, all things that may cause aggravation because you've got to shift your way of thinking, you're going to avoid them. It's only human. It's only natural to do that. Nobody heads for the fire. Very few people actually make a commitment to climb Mount Everest. It's not for the everyday man. When you get presented with an opportunity, what do? You've got to take it. You either do or die. And if you have the courage, then you'll be willing to take it and learn as you go. The growth mindset kicks in. That you may not know all that there is to know about a position, but you know you can learn. And that's how you get past that bottleneck. It may be slightly uncomfortable. You may have to take a few courses. You may have to talk to some new people. You may have to start networking and you're shy. You don't like talking to people. You got to get out of your comfort zone to get ahead. Because most of the time, what causes a person to want to move up in the world are bills. The cost of living goes up. Maybe you want to save up to buy a house. Maybe you have a kid on the way and you realize, wow, diapers, I didn't realize how much they cost. The cost of living goes up. You need more room in your home. You need a bigger place. You need a new location. Whatever the reason is, there is a cause to want to move up in your field or find a new job. Whether it's your old job ending, you've got to step up to the plate and get out of that comfort zone and start doing what you need to do to get to where you want to be. You know what they say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You need to start talking to people and networking. And even more importantly, it's not about who you know, it's who knows you. And that's when you got to get your name and face known to the people who matter. You ask the boss out. You go to the department head. You go to a COO, CFO. You go to the project manager. You go to the director. You say, hey, I want to pick your brain. I know you don't know who I am. I'm just a nobody in the company, but You're higher up and I want to learn a few things. Allow me to take you out for lunch. It is on me and pick your brain. Most of the time, they'll let you do it. They're eager to provide some degree of mentoring, and you can get some help along the way. Maybe you're stubborn. It's too uncomfortable to ask the director out for lunch. You have these ideas are going to be rejected. They're going to say no. You assume things because it's often easier to assume and play victim, to play helpless, to get stuck in self-pity than it is to say, I'm going to step up to the plate, and whether I win or lose, at least I stepped up to the plate and tried. It takes courage. So you got to muster up some courage. Do some things you are unfamiliar with and haven't done in the past. Those are the changes you need to make. Now, number 2 is fear. Fear can be so binding, can be so gripping. It creates a narrow vision of life. It's like looking at life through a toilet paper tube. You don't really see a lot of options in possibility. You got to take that toilet paper tube perspective that you have and look at the horizon. Look at the sky. Look at what's in front of you. And that often takes a sense of self-discipline. It takes a sense of concentration, the ability to focus your mind despite you being afraid. And this is your ability to handle stress. Those who are calm under pressure tend to get ahead. They keep their cool, they keep their demeanor, they're well-behaved, and you can make good and healthy, clear decisions. You can't make good decisions when you're stressed. So learning how to manage your emotions, learning how to manage your mind is a really valuable asset and skill to possess. And that's something that's learned. Just because you don't have it now doesn't mean you can't learn it. So that fear, false evidence appearing real, fear of rejection, fear of failure, the I'm not good enough, it won't work out. I need more training and I don't want to get trained. I don't even know who to ask or where to get training from. But I'm so comfortable that I won't even inquire. Do you see what I'm going? This is the line of thinking. Most people just think you hand in a resume and an application. You got to do your research in a new position. You got to get to know the people in that area of the company to know what it is they're looking for in that position and connect with them. It's not about, it's about who you know and who knows you, not about what you know. So all those combination of things are usually factored in when you want to move ahead, either in a company, in the same company, or a new job. You go research the company, go take the director out of that company out for lunch. Hey, I don't even work here, but I'm applying to get a job here. Can I take you out for lunch and pick your brain about the work culture, about the environment, about what your company is looking for in this position? So, and they may be impressed. They may say, wow, no one's ever asked me out for lunch who is applying for a job that they don't even work in the company for. That's really smart. They may admire you for it. But your fear of rejection is keeping you from doing that because it's more comfortable to just go to work every day and pretend everything's okay. That's the problem, is in your mind. You tell yourself a story and you play that story of they're going to reject me, it's too hard, I'm not good enough. And you tell that to yourself over and over and over, and that's what keeps you stuck in that bottleneck. Perhaps it's going back to school and shifting your career altogether and getting specialized training. Whatever the case may be, some sort of shift in lifestyle and habits needs to take place. And you need to conquer that fear, so muster up some courage. The other obstacle is self-pity. Self-pity is a really horrible mindset to be in because you go into a state of learned helplessness. And even though you know there's opportunity, you don't take it. Even though there's another application out there, you don't fill it out. Even though opportunity is literally handed to you, you don't take it. It's a state of learned helplessness. You kind of mope around. And when it gets really bad, you start hitting the bottle. It's not a good place to be in. So you want to stay away from self-pity. The way out of it is taking action. The way out of it is cleaning your room. That's the first place to start taking changes. Start with your personal hygiene. Buy a new set of clothes. Your personal sense, your self-esteem, you need to work on that if you're in a state of self-pity. That's what needs to change to get out of the hole you're in and start applying for jobs or go back to school and get your life in order. But for those of you that have a career and are well established and you just you're saving to buy a house and you need to increase your income, whatever the reason, maybe you're not happy in the job you're at and you want to go find a new company. These are the reasons as to why you're not doing that. It's in your mind. Your willingness to develop courage, your willingness to change, to put up with more hardship, your willingness to get out of your comfort zone, and your willingness to learn as you go. There's something called the imposter syndrome. That's essentially what the Peter Principle states. If you think you're not good enough because you don't apply for that higher paying job and then you just resign to where you're at. Why does that happen? Because you're afraid. Afraid to take a chance, and you create excuses because you're stuck in the comfort zone. You don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. You don't want to spend 3 hours after work and go take a night class at the local community college or wherever you learn from, and dedicate that time to improving your skills and going to networking meetings, hanging out in different areas of the building to get to know the people who are higher up. These are all things that will get you out of your comfort zone so you can get ahead. And that's what's so important about breaking past the bottleneck, the career bottleneck. Get out of your comfort zone, cultivate the growth mindset, and develop some courage. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck where you're at. You're going to be stuck with the same paycheck. You got a girlfriend, you got a wife, that the cost of living, you want to go on vacations. You want to buy a new car. You want to buy a home. You've got children on the way, and the cost of living is going to go up. You need to make some sort of improvements in your life. And if you don't, you never pop the question because you don't think you make enough money, and you're dating a girl for 6 years, you never ask her to marry you, she's going to leave you. And that's going to devastate you. She may leave you because you don't want to have kids and she wants to have kids and you think you can't afford it. They'll compromise to a certain degree, but up to that degree, when that point gets hit, they're going to walk out on you and you're going to be so much more miserable. That's why you need to make these changes in your own life. You need to change your sense of self-discipline, your habits, your training, your awareness, your people skills. All these aspects need to be looked at to get through that career bottleneck, because you don't want to be stuck with that same paycheck. You don't want to be in that same miserable position you're in, and you eventually want to buy a home. Millions of people are getting coached today because they realize it's almost impossible to do it on your own. Michael Jordan did not become the greatest basketball player because he did it on his own. He trained 4 hours every day in college to get to where he's at. Every great person has had a coach or mentor, and that's why I'm here. I help my clients get past the glass ceiling to find fulfillment, abundance, and freedom in their lives, so you can get empowered and get that confidence and the know-how and the skills that you need to get to move past that career bottleneck. Go ahead and leave a comment below. My contact information will be in the description. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Thank you so much for listening. I sure hope that helps.